Hi everyone, it's me, B, Kelly Sunflower. So I thought I'd hop on today and do and flip through and first impressions of this deck that I received today. Had it on pre-order for quite a while. So I have kind of unboxed the deck. I just done a video of about half an hour only to realise that I hadn't pressed the play button. So this is my second take. This tarot deck, Rebel Witches Tarot. It's a manual and deck of 78 cards. It was created by Cecilia Latari. I hope I've pronounced that right. And the illustrator is Taeyong Chin. And I hope I'm sorry if I butchered that name as well. Capture the spirit of the Rebel Witches with a tarot deck and book set. Combining witchcraft and tarot, this unique 78 card tarot deck features real and fictional heroes and heroines from around the world. The major arcana includes powerful figures from Santa Moretti, Guard of Bingen, and many others. Renowned artists, musicians, photographers, and writers highlight the major arcana, including Mary Shelley, Zora Neale Hurston. Cards are based on the classic Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and a full colour 128-page book offers interpretations of each card. And it's published by Iexia Press. I hope I pronounced that properly as well. Now, for me, right, some of the people that have highlighted in this deck, like Guard of Bingen and Mary Shelley and Zora Neale, I've never heard of these people before. So it looks like it's a modern deck. Or a different generation to me, I should say. So it comes with this 128-page guidebook. And what I love is that the cards are again in an extra tap box. Sometimes when decks aren't protected and you carry them around, they kind of get bashed about a bit. So I like the extra layer of protection for this deck. So before I go into the cards, let's have a look at the book. So it says, rebellious, unconventional and outside the box. The witches who populate these tarot cards come from a variety of eras and places. Some close, some distant, some real, some imagined. Whether casting spells, flying on a broom, or approaching magic to contemplate reality from a different viewpoint, the Rebel Witches will inspire you with their strong personalities. These witches dare to break the rules and fight with conviction to assert their own voices. So it's got a really nice clear content page. I like that it's not black and white ink, because it makes it easier to read when it's got a bit of colour underneath it, well, for me anyway. And I like that it's in nice big fonts and it's just really clearly laid out. So it talks about the Rebel Witches, people who started the revolution, deck structure, major arcana, minor arcana, before consulting the tarot, how to pose a question, deck preparation and sample spreads. So I will read out the first part, which is the Rebel Witches, people who started the revolution. This deck was inspired by all the people who, in one way or another, acted unconventionally in pursuing their craft, their wisdom, and their way of being, starting with ancient witches such as Circle or herbalists and scholars such as Hildegard of Bingen, all the way to Julia Butterfly Hill, the younger woman who chose to live in a large tree to oppose deforestation. The cards are also dedicated to those whom history has forgotten for belonging to an ethnic, gender or minority. Likewise, the deck contains men. There too are witches. If we recognise all these, we have the courage to carry out an unusual and luminous feat that continues to shine across years and centuries. This work is dedicated to all those healers, prophets, musicians and scholars who had to fight to have their voices heard. Specifically, even though she's not in the deck, I can dedicate this tarot to Bell Hooks, the writer, activist and feminist who claimed the margin as a space of power and awareness. The tarot, with its imaginative language that still speaks to us today, just as defiant because it's unclassifiable, changeable, always new, and above all, capable of expressing a different outlook, helping anyone who comes across it to find inspiration, beauty along their life path. And when it talks about the deck structure, so it says this deck consists of 78 cards, 22 major arcana, 40 minor arcana, and 16 court cards. So I like the fact that she separated the minor arcana to the court cards, because normally, you know, it will say 56 minor arcana, and that includes the court cards. The meanings of the cards is based on the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Then it talks about the major arcana. The minor arcana represents everyday issues. They are cards that tell the story of everyday life, events that may take place, emotions, relationships that are divided into 4 suits. And when it goes through the 4 suits, so that's Pentacles, Swords, Cups, and Wands. And then the court cards, the Page, the Knight, Queen, and King are the human manifestations of the energies represented by the different suits. Thanks to them, we learn about different personality types to identify ourselves or the people we know. They may also symbolize the various stages of life: childhood, adolescence, maturity, and the senior years, or even 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. If you recognize someone from the description or illustration accompanying the card, your reading might be inspired by that person. The court cards in this deck are dedicated to real people who changed the world through their art. Then it goes into the major arcana. So it's got a full colour picture. It's got the number of the archetype, the person in the archetype, and the name of the archetype. So let me read the strength card for once, because I always start at the 4, and the strength is more relatable to me because it represents Leo. So for the strength card, you've got a young person embracing her lion, and she's surrounded by sunflowers, and it's a very modern kind of take. It's got her circle, strength. The strength represented here is gentle and powerful. Circle caresses a lion while surrounded by sunflowers, symbolizing fire and the power of the sun. The card signifies being in touch with one's heart and the courage to act. Its message is oblique, and it resonates with nature because it reveals the inner voice, having the ability to endure the steadfast, not rush the process, and wait for the right moment. Therein lies the power of the energy. Circle is a witch and goddess. She embodies the wild power of nature and special bonds with animals. And when it's got keywords: gentle strength, resilience, wildness, deep connection, and nature. There's no reverse meanings. So let's have a look at how the minor arcana is set up. So the minor arcana is the same kind of format. The name of the suit, and then a picture, and then the meaning, and then some keywords. Okay, so let's have a look at the next chapter after the major and minor arcana. It's before consulting your cards. Learning the tarot means getting in touch with a new language made up of images and intuitive associations. I like that definition. It's really nice. This deck is inspired by the symbols and illustrations of the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, one of the first to include human figures in the minor arcana cards. You will see that each one represents a situation that may rise, an issue about your life, and provide you with inspiration or a new outlook about the question you asked. There are many prejudices around tarot reading. This deck, dedicated to rebellious and non-conforming people, will help you to smash the superstitions. This deck is an effective resource to work on yourself, shine a light on your path, and practice your intuition and inner vision. I don't think the tarot can be used to foretell the future, as I firmly believe that the future is in our hands. Even before unpredictable events, we decide how it will be, how to react, and what strategies to implement, even the most difficult circumstances. See, I believe that tarot is a predictive tool, so I don't necessarily agree with this, because when people come for a tarot reading, they're coming to look at the future, whether they want to know what's going to happen in the future. And yes, I do believe that readings can change. So for example, if I give somebody a reading today, I don't expect that reading to manifest in 2 years' time. People do come most of the time for predictive readings, so I don't kind of agree with that. But then this is the author's interpretation. I'm just giving you mine. You won't find instructions here on divination, namely how to predict the future and know what is going to happen. Instead, you will discover a visionary tool capable of unlocking your imagination and creativity so that you can better know yourself or analyze situations in a new way. Another thing as well, people don't always read for themselves, they also read for other people. Let me just see. So it's got here how to pose the question. The tarot is a complex alphabet and is not suitable for asking questions that require a yes or no answer. See, I don't agree with that either, because to me, some of the tarot cards can mean yes, can mean no, can mean maybe. Its language is manifested and symbolic. The responses cannot be summarized in short sentences or positive or negative answers. It's important to ask the tarot open-ended questions. So this is her own opinion. Ask something that is neither too specific nor too detailed. Imagine drawing the outline of a figure, then letting the cards answer the complete drawing. Here are some ideas to help you formulate a question correctly. What do I need to know about the situation? How can I enhance my ability to ... What are my resources regarding ... What do I need to change to do this? How can I best relate to... What are the strengths and weaknesses in my relationship with... Now, to me, these are predicted questions because they're asking questions about things that have not happened. So I'm confused. Okay, so deck preparation. So it gives you some examples on how to prepare your deck. So before using your tarot deck for the first time, it is good practice to cleanse and charge it. This way it will be ready for use and you'll establish a personal connection with it. Use this technique whenever you want. You may choose a day in the month to care for your deck or devote a full moon night to it. So it talks about incense or smudge sticks, which I do tend to use. Moon energy, which I'm yet to try. Shuffling and rearranging. I actually done this for this deck because, as I said before, I recorded this deck and forgot to press record. So I have shuffled it and I have put it back in the order that I like because it was in a different order. And then it's got gems and crystals, and it talks about gives you some sample spreads. So a card a day, your birth card and year, and it tells you how to work that out. It's got a 3-card spread and the placements, a 5-card spread and the placements. And then it talks about the author and the artist. Okay, so this is the guidebook. So let's have a look at the cards. As I said earlier, I have opened them up and I have repacked them. Because I had cellophane on them and stuff like that. So I've taken all that off. But I put them back in order so that I can rerun this video. So I love the backs of the cards. They're a nice electric pink with black. I think it's a really nice colour combination. If I compare it in size to the regular RWS card, the RWS sits inside. So this side here is the RWS and that's the border around it. The cards are kind of glossy. They're quite thick and they're not edged. So you can edge them yourself if that's what you do. But I'm going to take them as they come because I always butcher my cards when I edge them. So it's a very modern deck. So let's flip through these cards and then I will give you my first impression and shuffle the deck. So you've got the 4 and you've got the number and the archetype there. I love how the magician is a mature person. The high priestess is a butterfly. Now this is a very modern empress. I'm going to read what it says in the book because she does look pregnant. But this book said that it's Rider-Waite inspired, and I can't see the Rider-Waite influences in this picture. I do see somebody walking down a one-way street, pregnant, with loads of shopping. So it's got here Lilith. The legend of Lilith originated in ancient Macedonia, where she was depicted as a female demon. In Jewish tradition, Lilith was Adam's first wife, who rebelled against her husband, leaving the Garden of Eden to be free. She is linked to storms, but also seduction, pleasure, and witchcraft, all characteristics deemed negative by patriarchy. So I'm very tongue twisted today. I don't know why. Lilith expresses feminine strength, independence, and the ability to live freely. I associate her with the Empress, who is a Venus, one who loves, creates, gives birth, marriages, and like Mother Earth with her creatures. She presides over the birth of something new, a project, a change of life, or a new idea. Spend time in nature is better to understand the message of this card. And it's got here keywords: nourishment, creation, and sensuality. I'm not being critical, but I can't see any of what the author's just said by looking at this card. And also, I wouldn't have known that was Lilith. So that's why I think it's really important when creators do kind of modern decks that do drive away from the Rider-Waite-Smith to you know, say where they got their inspiration from. Because when you get a deck like this and there's no guidebook, it's very hard to have an intuition on somebody else's artwork without knowing what their intentions were. So you've got the Emperor, the Hierophant, the Lovers, and it's a same-sex relationship, the Chariot. Again, I don't know who this archetype is. This looks like the Union Jack a little bit. See, I wouldn't say that this is Rider-Waite-Smith inspired to me, because just by looking at the cards, I'm not getting the Rider-Waite-Smith interpretation. But this is my own opinion. So you've got the Strength, which I love, and I did read this out, you know, from the guidebook. But I love the sunflowers. She's got a very kind of Leo face. I love how she's stroking her lion. And look at the fingernails. You know that lions are very well groomed, or Leos are very well groomed. Look how the lion's got, you know, its nails manicured. It's beautiful. The Hermit, above a tree, you know, for solitude and to kind of have a clear head. Now the Wheel of Fortune again, yeah, just by looking at it, at this card, it looks like three ladies playing tarot or playing poker. I'm going to read out what it says in the guidebook again for the Wheel of Fortune. So it's got here the three witches. In William Shakespeare's tragedy, Macbeth, there are three witches called the Wayward Sisters, a reference to the three fates that directed every human being's life and destiny. The three witches are also called the Weird Sisters and symbolize chaos, subversion of roles, and fate. It's hard to know whether they are agents or history or simple observers. The Wheel of Fortune is a card of destiny. It signifies that whatever is happening to you has meaning, even if you cannot see it. Right now, everything passes, everything flows, good times and bad. A card about synchronicity. It reminds us that our choices dictate the destiny, just like Macbeth, who listened to the three witches' advice, and Banquo, who disregarded it. And it's got keywords: coincidence, change, passage, synchronicity. Now, if I just looked at that card, I wouldn't know that that was the three sisters. I just think it's three people or three ladies just playing cards. So I'm glad that she's related it in the guidebook and given her own perception. So Justice, I like that there's a wise owl next to this witch. And I love the Hangman. My Blythe dolls have got these socks. It's beautiful. Oh, she's got her knickers hanging up as well on the line. So you've got the Death, the Temperance. This is kind of Rider-Waite-Smith-ish. The Devil. I don't know who this character is, but I'm sure the guidebook will give an explanation. Again, the Tower. I don't know how this relates to the Tower either. Let me see. Card 11. So this is Ursula K. Lee Quinn for the Tower. Ursula K. L. Quinn was an author who masterfully contravened gene boundaries. She disconnected traditional imagery, specifically in her choice of characters who were often black, indigenous, and of colour. Another prominent theme in her stories is the investigation of gender stereotypes and sexual identity as the left hand of darkness, in which she narrates encounters of androgynous aliens. In Paradise's Lost, the galactic heroine is a woman, in a role usually reserved for men. Le Quinn acted like the Tower in the tarot. She demolishes a structure that was outdated or, at the very least, no longer relevant, so that something new could emerge. Doing so through a process of occurrence, the Tower signifies an occurrence that shatters the status quo and confidentially moves towards an unencumbered horizon. Keywords: divergence, to shed one's skin, revolution. Now that she's written it in the guidebook again, I understand, but just by looking at this card, I wouldn't know that this is Ursula K. L. Quinn, because I don't know who she is. I've never heard of her before. So that's the only thing with modern decks, you know, and authors expecting you to use your intuition on something that you don't know. But because the guidebook outlines it, I now understand why this woman was linked to the Tower, and I like that the creator has also linked characters who have the personality of the archetype. I find that very, very interesting and cool. So you got the Star, the Moon, the Sun. I wonder who the Sun is. See, so the Sun is Titumba. I don't know who that is either, but I like the fact that there's sunflowers. I like that it's not a child or a baby on a horse. So you've got Judgment. I don't know who this person is. And you've got the World. This person's cradling the world in her hands. It's beautiful. So I put these cards in my order, which is Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles. But when I unboxed the deck, it started off with Swords, the Cups, the Wands, and then the Pentacles, but I put them in the order that I like. That's how my brain kind of figured out. So you've got the Ace of Wands, and these ones look like they're spoons. I love the person's nail varnish. Two of Wands. So this is Rider-Waite kind of Smith-ish. Three of Wands, and there's wooden spoons. The Four of Wands. Again, this is Rider-Waite Smith-ish, setting up that foundation of wooden spoons. The Five of Wands, this looks more like teamwork than conflict. The Six of Wands. 7. 8 of Wands, which is normally fast movement or fast communication. 9 of Wands. And 10 of Wands. This is definitely another burden. So you've got the Page. This woman looks a bit old to be a page. The Knight. So it looks like the roles have changed. It looks like a page to me. The Queen. And the King. He looks so cool. So moving on to the Suit of Cups. Got the Ace of Cups. The Two of Cups. The Three of Cups. The Four of Cups. The 5. 6. 7. I love this 8 of Cups. She's walking away from that emotional situation. 9 of Cups. And 10 of Cups. That's also kind of Rider-Waite Smith, and it's a couple with their 2 children, same-sex couple. That looks like the rainbow. It's got all cups on there. This guy looks very old to be a page. He might be young at heart though. Knight, Queen, and king, who looks very much like David Bowie. So the swords look like fountain pens. Yeah, 2 of swords, or maybe just pens. 3 of swords, so there's 3 pens. This is a Rider-Waite-Smith image to me. 4 of swords, and so is this one. 5 of swords, 6 of swords, 7, 8 of swords. I love this depiction. She's kind of hidden underneath her umbrella, but the pens are wide enough for her to escape should she choose to. This is Rider-Waite-Smith, 9 of swords and 10 of swords. So again, this doesn't fit to my meaning of the 10 of swords because the person is just laying next to swords. So you've got the page, knight, queen, and king of swords. So moving on to the suit of pentacles, you've got the ace of pentacles, the 2 of pentacles, the 3, it's working together as a team there, 4 of pentacles, 5, this is very Rider-Waite-Smith-ish, 6, 7 of pentacles, 8 of pentacles, it's got a good skill there doing tattooing, 9 of pentacles. This person, you know, looks like a herbalist, or, you know, she's in her greenhouse planting her stuff. 10 of pentacles, this looks like 3 generations of family, child, mother, grandfather, or it could be a couple, an older couple with a child. You can read it both ways. Page of pentacles, knight of pentacles, queen of pentacles, and king of pentacles. Now before I shuffle it, I just want to show you the deck that I'd like to pair it with. This is the Modern Witch Tarot by Effany. I was using this deck quite a lot for the month of February because, you know, it was Valentine's month. And I think that the hot pink would go very nice with the red backs. I use this deck a lot. It's kind of chipping now where I shuffle it so much. It's a really nice deck. And the reason why I'd pair these two together is because they're both modern decks, and I think aesthetically they look well. You know, this one's not in order, but they look quite well together, I think. You know, they're both modern. They both kind of deviate from the Rider-Waite-Smith, but I think Effany's one is more Rider-Waite-Smith influenced, and I think that the Rebel Witch is a system in its own right. I don't think it follows Rider-Waite-Smith because there's only a few cards, in my opinion, that are Rider-Waite-Smith. But I think as a pairing, these two work really well because they're both modern decks. I mean, the different cardstock. Effany's deck in the Modern Love Tarot is kind of matte, and this card's got like a soft deck's got like a soft sheen to it. Okay, so let's put this Effany's deck back and give this deck a shuffle, and then I will give you my first impressions. So as I said earlier on, this deck is quite thick, so I think it's easier to shuffle overhand. But, you know, because it's quite thick, for me, I'm finding it quite a challenge to shuffle. And I've got kind of medium-sized hands. My hands are not, I wouldn't describe my hands as small. But the thickness to me is quite challenging. And because they are quite thick, I don't think these cards would riffle shuffle or bridge shuffle very good because they don't flip into space. They're a bit kind of rebellious, stubborn and stuff. Okay, so what are my first impressions of this deck? I love the way that it's packaged. I love that the cards come in their own separate box. And the box is a pull-out box like this. Because sometimes when decks don't come with a lot of packaging, and you put them in like a bag. They're not always protected. You know, I like my decks to be well protected. So even if I do put my decks in a bag, I tend to put the box in a bag. To me, this deck is not Rider-Waite-Smith inspired, because some of the cards, for me, when I'm looking at them, don't look like my interpretation of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I like the fact that this deck is diverse, though. It has different races, different ages, different abilities, and I like that, and different genders. I'm looking forward to actually working with this deck, though, because as I said before, it's not Rider-Waite-Smith, and some of the cards as well, looking at them, like I said earlier on, it doesn't really relate to my perception of the cards. But I like the fact that the author has written a nice guidebook, because as I said earlier as well, sometimes you get these modern decks like this and you're looking at the cards and you don't understand why that picture is being used for that archetype. And you know, sometimes a lot of modern creators, in my opinion, expect you to be able to use your intuition for their mindset, which I find very difficult to do. But because the creator has written why she chose each card, that's something that I can work with. I don't know if it's a generational thing, but a lot of the people in the cards, I don't know who they are. You know, like the ones that I read out for you, the Empress and all the other cards, I don't know who those people are. But I think this deck is readable. I said before, I don't think it follows the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I think it's its own system. I wouldn't call it beginner friendly either, but this is a good deck for someone who would like to learn the tarot from a system that's not Rider-Waite-Smith. But I wouldn't call this deck Rider-Waite-Smith inspired, even though some of the cards are. But I think it's refreshing. I love the uniqueness of it. David Bowie. And I'm looking forward to actually working with this deck. I will do a deck interview before I work with this deck. I think I might find this deck a bit challenging to work with, because it is not its own system. But let's just see how I get on with it. I will leave a link to this deck in the description bar should anybody be interested in purchasing this deck. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.